Hello world and welcome to Elevated Intuition. Today we are looking at the energy of your next week. So this is a timeless message. This is for, about 5 to 7 days from when you watch this. I usually upload on Sundays at midnight my time. So of course that is different for wherever you are. I am also using the 2-cent, or it's actually the 2-penny oracle, and that's why I included this, the Know Thyself, because that's kind of like the overall maybe theme for the week here, Know Thyself. And this is a pick it card reading. I have 3 options here for us, which I usually do. You can at any time check the timestamps down below and go listen to your reading. These are general messages, so take what resonates. Sometimes one message is really not you, the other one is. Also, you can get into a reading and just decide that, you know what, this is not my pile, and go listen to another one or even a different video, because my weekly readings, again, are timeless. So we've got, let's see, I want to make sure that we can see our little numbers here. Actually, they're kind of big numbers. 1, 2, and 3. I'm also going to be placing objects on them here in a moment. So if you like to pick that way. For pile number 1, we have, it's been a while since we've picked with plants, so I'm bringing them back here. This is a Brontosaurus with an echeveria that has been getting a good amount of sun and has like little red, you can see it here, it's got some red edging. Then we have, for pile number 2, we have a Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is also an echeveria, but you can see the overall hue of it is red rather than just mostly green with red edges like this one. I think this might be a Romeo, but if you know, please comment. And the third one, I do know what this is. This is a Triceratops with a Pearl von Nuremberg. So I hope that you have enough information to choose by now. I'm going to go ahead and close my eyes and take a deep breath. I invite you to do that with me. So I'm closing my eyes and take a deep breath in and release any tension. Just be here in the moment. Set that intention that we're going to just be here right now and bring in any information that we need to know about next week. So I will meet you at your pile. Hello, group 1. We have our Brontosaurus friend here. I'm going to put our number 1 over here so we know where we are. And let's take a look at the cards. So this is for further advice. I'm going to go ahead and place those over here. And overall energy for the week, we've got discernment. Just like a history of what these cards are. It's based on a now kind of pseudoscience called phrenology. And I bring that up because we've got some elephant skulls here. And phrenology is like one of the things that it studied was like the shape of the skull with the intention to see attributes, intelligence, that kind of thing of the subject. Hence why it's a pseudoscience now. However, they do have some interesting words and traits that came out of that, and that's what we're tapping into. And again, this started in the 1700s, so we kind of get this throwback, almost oddities kind of feel with these cards, which I do like. I hope you like too. Again, we've got the elephant skulls here, and then this is a device that would like measure the skulls, and discernment, perception, misjudgment, and clairvoyance. So these words all have to do with discernment, and discernment is something we judge our environment every day, whether we believe somebody or not. And a lot of times we're doing that by tapping into our clairvoyance, by tapping into our intuition. If this is a good situation or not. Should I park my car here, or does it look really sketchy? Do I think that somebody's going to hit my car if I park it here, or are things going to be safe? I know, especially from a feminine perspective, we are always judging situations, safe people, safe areas. For the most part, I think most of our days are pretty safe. It just depends on where you live. But that is something that's really, important to people, is discernment, motivations, the character, and the nature of others. But some things can come into play as far as misjudgment or your clairvoyance. Sometimes when you do misjudge somebody, or something, it can be harmful. So it's kind of weighing those types of things. Let's see if we have more information with the cards here. So we've got 4 of Swords reversed. We've got the High Priestess reversed. We've got 5 of Swords. And we've got Queen of Swords reversed. So I'm almost feeling like this might be, like your discernment might be related to, for some of you, a romantic partnerships. For others of you, just a, friendship, partnership that didn't go well. Maybe some competition that started off friendly and didn't end up well. 5 of Swords often talks about like when you win the battle, but you lose the war. And it's when people lose sight of the overall maybe objective of what's going on, because they really get competitive in that moment. And this can also talk about saying things that you don't mean, or that you regret. So I'm really kind of, with your discernment, I think that there is something off, and we need to get it back to connect with our intuition and clairvoyance. And I'm pointing at the High Priestess reversed as I'm talking about this, because the High Priestess is all about intuition. It's all about that feminine energy. I also said the feminine when I was talking about discernment and where we, like our place in the world, where we are, our bearings, what's going on around us, because intuition is all about the feminine. There's a lot of times when there's just factors coming in, and it's more of a feeling rather than something that's logical. Like, okay, it should be logical for me to park my car here, as an example, but you just have a feeling that it's going to get damaged if you do park it there, that there's some sort of danger involved, and you can't logically put your finger on it. There's not, numbers, statistics, you can't write this down, but you just know, and inside. Now, if you do have a misjudgment about that, or if you're trying to balance that with some sort of logic, that can get us into trouble. Like you're like, what, this person, I have a bad feeling about them, but I shouldn't have a bad feeling. There's no reason for me to have a bad feeling about them. And then, you're kind of that in that moment, you're disconnected with your intuition and what your intuition is telling you, because there's no like logical or physical explanation for that. And you kind of go against it, and then it hurts you with the 5 of Swords. And you can become bitter. Here, the Queen of Swords reversed. So let's go through the cards in logical order and see how everything kind of shakes out, because we're looking for solutions here for you. If you've lost your discernment, let's find ways to connect with it and bring it back. And reasons why you may have lost your discernment are kind of, well, kind of all the cards actually, now that I'm looking at it. Four of Swords reversed talks about exhaustion. You can see here, the Four of Swords is about taking a break. It's, and Swords is ideas, so it's more of a mental break. We have 3 Swords cards here, so a lot of things swirling around in our mind. And I feel like with the High Priestess in reverse, that it is kind of a mind gut thing, that you need to get those things back in order, back in alignment with each other, that they're working for you, that you're not second guessing yourself. And you shouldn't be anyway. And I almost feel like it might be somebody else's influence when you tell them, you know, maybe you're discussing this with a friend and you're like, I just have a bad feeling. I don't really want to go to this party with this person, or I don't want to develop a friendship with this person because you have a bad feeling. And your friend, who might be the mutual friend of this person you're talking about, is like, you're being ridiculous. And they bring up logical points as to why you are being ridiculous, kind of like measuring your head here with the skull. But remember, this was a pseudoscience. This didn't work out. And a lot of times people talk about your intuition as a pseudoscience too. However, so many things are attributed to your intuition and how it works out for you, like multiple choice quizzes, and you're just like, I don't really know the answer, but I feel like it's C, and going with that. Following signs, just being in tune with your environment too, because there are a lot of things that we do observe that is kind of more subconsciously, and we allow kind of like our programmed mind to just take care of it and calculate it, and that's kind of what our intuition comes up with. So we get these feelings and we don't really have the evidence to substantiate it. However, we kind of do. Like, we kind of have had, we've taken in all of these things in our environment and really maybe not consciously noticed these things, but they come in and they filter through our mind and they filter through our gut, and it tells us something. So maybe you can't logically say, well, for this reason, I don't trust this person. But if you're feeling it, you really need to get be okay with that. Be okay with that's how you feel. Be okay with that. You do have intuition, reconnect with it. You do have this, everybody has this clairvoyance, this idea of, what is really good for them. And following your own true path rather than fighting with other people about it. So let's see what else I have here. We already talked about the Five of Swords being conflict here. I almost feel like, especially with the rose here, every rose has a thorn. So sometimes things look really good on the surface, but underneath they're not. And there's social media does this as well, where somebody's life looks really beautiful and perfect, and then all of a sudden, like, you realize or you find out that it's not. That can upset that balance between our logical mind and our intuition as well. Because you might look at somebody and think, wow, there's just something off here, but you can't really place your finger on it. Everything looks beautiful. Everything on the surface is great. But you don't know all the complexities of something, but you can feel the energy of it. So I really feel like a lot of this is trusting yourself, trusting your discernment, that it's okay to be discerning, that it is about protecting yourself, protecting your own energy. I feel like the Queen of Swords reversed here, this could be somebody that is really influencing you here in this Five of Swords, the Queen of Swords reverse. I mean, she's upright. She's fantastic. She's, you know, a go-getter. She's very motivated. She's very communicative. But in reverse, she's overly emotional and very cold-hearted. And if this is somebody that you are in conflict with, which I see kind of here with the Five of Swords, she is going to come in and interject herself and make you question yourself and maybe make you tired. So I feel like this whole thing is, sometimes she can be like a negative voice in your head, or sometimes she is a real person that is trying to convince you to do something that you don't want to do. Whether this is a friend, an employer, I have a vision of somebody in my head of the Queen of Swords reversed for me personally. This was a boss who would continually try to convince me to do things that I knew were not right, were wrong. And then when it would go sideways, she was gone and placed all the blame on me. So, you know, and you're like, wait a second, I knew that was wrong. I only did that because she convinced me to, and here I am. I'm the one being harmed by that. I'm the one being exhausted by that. And I was questioning myself when I knew I was right here. Let's see, further advice for this week. We've got air magic. I love this. And we've got strength and resilience. Yes, so it's just standing in your power and believing in yourself. Don't let this Queen of Swords convince you to do things that you know you shouldn't. This is believing in your intuition. I love that this is air magic, because when we look at all of these swords here, we've got the Four of Swords, Five of Swords, Queen of Swords. We need to and even this, strength and resilience, I think this is related to grounding yourself. Right? You've got this like whirlwind going on around you. And this is you standing in your power, but it's like grounding yourself in that power. Ways to do that is like meditating, affirmations for strength and resilience. You need to put your mind back together with your intuition and trust yourself. Air magic, this is communications coming in. I love this light here. You know, something like going on a walk and just being in the sunshine and fresh air for a moment can help you clear your mind. Get out these negative thoughts that are being implanted here by this Queen of Swords, and stand in your power, because there's a reason why that's happening. There's a reason why this Queen of Swords is able to put these negative thoughts in your mind, or is able to make you question yourself. And I feel like, you know, strength and resilience is building yourself back up. You can find a trusted friend who can help you do that, or you might have to do that on your own. Air magic, he has a quill here. I feel like writing some things down and journaling. Also lighting a candle. He's got incense, but just really sitting still and being quiet for a moment. Like this Four of Swords, you might be like super exhausted, but I feel like the Four of Swords and the High Priestess in reverse talks about taking a moment, stepping away from this conflict, connecting back with yourself, letting go of like all of those negative influences, and really the kind of like here with the strength and resilience, you know, just sitting down, connecting with that heart chakra, and how do I really feel about this situation? How, you know, really go back and define your values. And then you can use discernment to say, okay, this Queen of Swords is trying to manipulate me. And you can identify those manipulations and write it down. And sometimes you do have to do what she says, because in my situation, she was my boss. But then I started documenting it like, okay, like when it came down, like, hey, you did this and, you know, you shouldn't have da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, I agree with you. I didn't really want to. And I brought that to this person's attention. But as you see here in this email, Like, I don't know, what do you suggest I do in this situation? Because she is responsible for telling me what to do, but you're telling me I did it wrong, you know, and put that back on them rather than allowing it to make you question yourself and allowing it to make you just be burnt out on the situation. So very interesting week, group one. I really feel like you can turn this around. You just have to like this, tap into your high priestess. And I feel, you know, this high priestess and the strength and resilience, I feel like are very connected. It's almost like a yin and yang going on here. Like she's very much the same person, but this over here, she's questioning herself. This over here, she's like, no, I know who I am. I know what my values are. I know what I bring here to this team. I know what is going on. I looked at it from all of these situations, and this is her really letting go of that anxiety and letting go of the influence, the negative influence over here, and standing up for yourself and putting those boundaries around yourself that, you know what, you're not going to push me around anymore. And you don't have to be negative about it. You just, you know, sometimes you do have to act in your own best interest because somebody is trying to manipulate you. And you have to judge somebody's character. And when you do see the Queen of Swords for who she is, you can act accordingly. And maybe you do need, like I said, maybe you do need to follow the directions that she's giving you, but at least cover yourself. Like, I agree with you at the end of the situation. Like, I agree this situation shouldn't have happened like this. These were my suggestions for it, but this is how I was instructed to handle it. So that's what I have for you, group one. Very interesting reading. And I feel like, you know, you have all the power inside of you. It's just that whole kind of like belief. And I think that a lot of times when somebody lets us down, who we trust, it's really hard to get over that. And you kind of do feel this, you know, this burnout, like you're not going anywhere and you don't want to fight anymore. So that's what I have for you, group one. I hope to see you in the next reading. Thank you. Hello, group two. If you picked the T-Rex, you are in the right spot. I put the number over here and then our further advice over here. And let's see, overall energy for your week, we have calculation. And this has some millipedes and some centipedes on it. It also has leaves with a ton of little leaves on it. So it talks about assessment, manipulation, and negligence. Number 30. So yeah, calculation can, you know, we're always kind of calculating where we are in any given situation. This often talks about having to do with finances though. And this might be a good week to kind of look at your ledger, where you have money coming in, where you have money going out. Are you still in need of these types of services? Did you order from an online store and then accidentally get put into a program, in quotes, where they bill you every month and you're not taking care of those services and you didn't even realize that you were enrolled in that? I'm feeling like you need to, you know, take a look at what you're spending money on. Sometimes adding some things up where you have a hobby, perhaps. Maybe it's tarot and you didn't realize how much money you were spending on decks, something like that. So it's kind of looking into what you've got going on, especially with the negligence here, because if things can be adding up behind the scenes without you even paying attention to it. And I feel like this is talking about you going in there and really being active in your financial situation, especially if finances is something that is on your mind right now. Manipulation, that kind of goes back to what I was talking about, where sometimes you just get enrolled in these services. It really happens a lot with women's products. I will tell you that right now. Like, you order some shampoo online and all of a sudden, just to try it, and all of a sudden, like, you're getting these monthly bills and shipments of stuff that you didn't want. Or exercise stuff too. I don't know what there's like some sort of class that these marketers take that does that. So we have 9 of Swords. We have Death reversed. 6 of Swords reversed. And we've got Ace of Pentacles. So that's lovely. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, you just need to step up and take control of something. I'm feeling like it is particularly financially related. Ace of Pentacles here at the end is telling me that once you do that, it's going to be beneficial to you. I feel like there might be something that you've been neglecting, like with these 3 cards, that is holding you in a spot. There might be some anxiety around something. You know, we often have anxiety around like how we're going to make rent, those kinds of things. But I feel like there's something you can do about it, that there's money going someplace that you didn't intend it to go. This can also be like your job, that you feel like there's eyes on you, like these evil eyes, and you're being watched. That's not always the most pleasant feeling. And with Death reversed and 6 of Swords, I feel like you don't feel like it's a very pleasant feeling either. I love how the 6 of Swords reversed, you know, it has this anchor, right? It's kind of floating upright. It has this idea that you're kind of going with the flow, you're moving away from a bad situation, and then you're able to plant your anchor where you want to stop. Like right now you're holding it, and when you get to this island or get around this island that you may be headed to, you can stop by placing that anchor there. But it means then that you do need to take some responsibility for where you are and where you want to go. And right now, I think that, you know, and that's just what it's talking about like this week is, hey, step up, take a look around at some things. What is it that you can control? Control the controllables, because it is stagnating your growth. You're not able to move where you want to go. You're not able to plant your anchor where you want it to go. Death reversed, you know, that might sound like a good thing, but it is actually about growth and moving on and doing something new. You can see here, she's got these flowers growing inside of her and sprouting through her rib cage. It's actually a very beautiful thing because it is shedding the, you know, the things that we don't want. It's shedding this 9 of Swords energy. It's shedding this anxiety about the future, and embracing a change that we want. Okay. So I feel like, you know, going back to this calculation, taking a look at where you are, where you want to be, how you're going to get there. That's not always the funnest thing to do because it's a lot of self-reflection, but then you're not so worried about these eyes on you because you have eyes on yourself. And anxiety can talk about like worried about the future, but when we're worried about the future, we oftentimes just get stuck in this energy rather than moving on from it. And this week is about letting go of whatever it is that is upsetting you and like embracing that change and letting it help us like sprout this new thing that we want. And the calculation is very much about taking control. And so is like the Six of Swords, moving from where you are that you don't want to be and looking at your future and where you do want to be and where you want to go. And then we've got tears of joy and sadness and meditation for clarity. So let's talk about tears of joy and sadness right now. I feel like a lot of times, like, I think both of these are very much connected to this Nine of Swords. 9 is a number where we're almost at the end of something. So if you're feeling like, this is normally depicted as swords being in somebody's back, like people are talking about behind your back, or you feel like people are looking at you or they're judging you. That's almost over. Tears of joy and sadness is about releasing that. You can be sad that like the situation that you're in turned out the way it was when, you know, maybe things were really great when you first started there and they're not so great now, and you do feel like you need to move on. That's okay. We have that nostalgia. 6 is kind of a number of nostalgia and looking back a little bit because we're assessing where we were and where we want to go. And it's okay to have both joy and sadness when we're moving on from something and moving towards something new. Meditation for clarity. Yeah, if you don't know where you want to go, it's kind of hard to plot that, right? And that's kind of going back here to this calculation. It's going back to like this Nine of Swords. We need to calm this down. We need to connect, you know, you need to connect with with where you want to go, with what is making you anxious and what will make you feel secure. And I feel like this Nine of Swords too is, you know, she's in bed, she's trying to sleep, and she's just feeling these eyes on her, all this anxiety. Meditation, using some guided meditations, and they have them for all sorts of things. So whether it is something related to health and wellness and healing, whether that's healing physically or spiritually, whether that is something for your ambition. I think I've even seen a meditation out there for winning the lottery. So whatever that meditation is, you're on YouTube right now. You can go find the meditation for you that's going to help you. First is sitting down and identifying like why you're so worried about this change, probably because you feel like there's a little bit of things that are out of control. But we're taking control. We're picking up the reins. We're taking control of this so we can move where we want to go, right? And I feel like the meditation is something that can help you move where you want to go and get you to the right place. And that's going to, again, I feel like this whole situation is really going to work its way out. I think that this calculation and this Ace of Pentacles are very much related. It's very much about like letting this stuff go. And it's okay if you're sad about it. It's okay if you need to think about it and take some time for yourself about it. But the end result is just sweeping this negativity behind you and moving on and just being, you know, being much lighter. She, in this Ace of Pentacles, she's much lighter. She's much happier. She's actually growing something for herself and what she wants to grow, and putting her attention on what she needs, you know, what she needs to be putting her attention on. And I feel like the calculation is saying, hey, let's do an assessment here. Let's kind of like, let's do some bookkeeping in our life. Where are we? Where are we really? What does our ledger look like? Whether that is dealing with relationships and friends, whether that is having to do with your career, your school, something isn't right here and you're not going where you need to go, probably because you're not being very active here in, you know, let's pick up that anchor. Let's pick up what's keeping us where we are, and let's move on with the flow and find where we need to be. And oftentimes, where we put our energy, where we put our attention, that's where energy goes. Okay, so if you're putting your energy and attention on something negative that's hurting you, that's where the energy is going, and that's where it's always going to go. This is going into like law of attraction here. And you're going to be upset that you're not where you want to be, but really you're putting your energy and attention to where you're not. Or you're putting your energy and attention to you're not where you want to be, rather than where you want to be. And I realize that sounds really crazy, but it's a double-edged sword. There's two ways to think about any situation. That you can be thinking about that you don't have it, or you can be thinking about what you do have and what you're happy about, and that you then start building that momentum to getting what you want and what you do have. I hope that makes sense. It makes sense to me here, but it's really just, and this clarity for meditation, or meditation for clarity, is very much related to this calculation too. Because calculation is putting things in boxes and numbers and making sense of it. So even though we're meditating and we're just thinking about things, it's allowing things to process, much like numbers process. Numbers are easy, right? Math is easy. It's 1 + 1 is 2. But when we start putting emotions in here, it gets a little bit stickier. It gets a little bit harder. It's harder for us to kind of sift through it. But I have faith in you. I think you can do it, because we're going to do it with some meditation. You're really going to take, journaling I think can really help. I say that journaling, I said that journaling for group 1 too. They actually had journaling here. But I really see like a ledger here. Pull up Excel. Pull up something where you're putting things in columns. Maybe you do need to do a pros and cons. Pros and cons, can work for like our emotion. And I think a lot of times, we have this emotion, but maybe we kind of need to pull ourselves out of it a little bit and look at things objectively. That might be kind of what's holding you back. It might be keeping you in this anxiety, rather than moving on with the change that you want to get you to this Ace of Pentacles. But I feel like it's coming for you. It's just a little bit of work that you need to put in, and the only reason you have to put in some work is because you have to plot your course, right? You have to put those things on a map. Plot your course is very much calculations, math related. You have to put those points down. Where do you want to go? Because nobody else can answer that for you, even though sometimes, and that might also be, you might be getting other people's opinions of what you should do and where you should go, and it's making you anxious because it doesn't align with what you feel. So that's what I have for you, group 2. That's what I have for this week. I think that, this could be a really fun and interesting week for you. You just have a little bit of homework to do. So think of this Ace of Pentacles as that light at the end of the tunnel. We want to get rid of this anxiety. We don't want to feel that way anymore. And we want to get this breath of fresh air coming in. So that's what I have. And I hope you have a fantastic week, and I will see you in the next reading. Hello, group 3. We've got our Triceratops. Sorry. I was like, what do we have here? Our number 3. If you picked this pile, here are your cards. So first card we're starting off with is individuality, observation, insonance, and incuriosity. So, sorry, sometimes I have a hard time reading things that are all capitalized. It's just a quirk of mine. So let's talk about this. So insolence is a lack of concern, and incuriosity is exactly that, lack of curiosity and observation. So a lot of these, you know, even though they relate to each other, they're kind of like the flip side of each other. Individuality is, I love that we have the giraffes here when we're talking about individuality and observation, because they have their own perspective on things, right? And, you know, there's not another animal that looks like them. They stick out a lot, and then add like these springs here with the necks and the top hats. I feel like this is a week for you to kind of be yourself, be in your power, not let other people define you. You define yourself, right? Now, like, they can think whatever they want about you. You really can't change that, what somebody else thinks about you, but this is really you not caring about what they think, and this is you being yourself and reacting to a situation your way. Observation, you know, you do maybe need to, I've got two things on this observation. First of all, observation, like, who are you? And observation, observing your own thoughts. And there could be things in there that you just don't need to, that aren't serving you, that you don't need to think anymore. So this is talking about finding those thoughts and maybe examining them. Where does that really come from? What is it? Is it a limiting thing? Does it limit me? I mean, these giraffes with top hats are pretty limitless. So the observation there is, what are these thoughts that are going through my mind? Are they really my thoughts? Are they some sort of programming that I picked up from somewhere along the way? Also, observation is the world around you. What's going on with my family and my friend group and my work situation and, you know, where I am in life? Does my job that I'm doing right now, is that really me? Is that really where I want to be? So this is a really interesting week as far as being yourself, being who you are. I'm hearing freak flag fly. That doesn't mean that you are necessarily a freak, but there is nobody else like you. So not everybody's going to understand you, and that's okay. That's actually pretty beautiful. We've got the King of Pentacles. We've got the 10 of Wands. This is a beautiful 10 of Wands. We have the Emperor reversed. And we've got the 10 of Swords reversed. So yeah, I really feel like maybe you've been defining yourself off of other people's expectations, and we've got two 10s here. It's time to let that go. Emperor reverse. The Emperor often talks about like structure, expectations, like societal expectations. The Emperor himself is, you know, great because he is in control of himself. But when you are, maybe somebody else is in control of you right now, and that's why we're getting individuality in King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles is interesting here. He is somebody who is in control of his destiny. He is somebody who you know, in this one in particular, I see, you know, he's an entrepreneur, but he's somebody who like creates wealth, not only for himself, but the other people around him. King of Pentacles could be somebody that you look to help define yourself. Maybe this is somebody that you admire. it could be somebody, he's got a very Taurus energy. Pentacles are related to earth signs. So they are, even though like he's standing on these antlers, they are very grounded. They know who they are. I feel like it's you in some way, like maybe it's future you as the King of Pentacles, because if you don't know who you are and you're living up to societal's expectations, and you've got the Ten of Swords reversed here and the Ten of Wands, these are like burdens, these are like ideas, thoughts that people have placed on you. This is just like really kind of pulling and dragging you down. The King of Pentacles here, I mean, obviously he is not letting these burdens hold him down. He's standing on the shoulders of giants, is what I often think about this particular King of Pentacles, which is why I think that you looking to somebody else, and whoever that is, like however you define yourself, maybe you want to be the best Pokemon player, you know, the Pokemon card game player ever. And that would be my son. So he would search out who is really good at that, look at what they've done, and then create his own path for himself based on this person. And maybe they are really great ideas of how they have stepped to get to where they are. And you can you can bring those things into your life. And it can help get you to where you want to be. But maybe there are some things that just do not resonate with you, and that's okay too, because the King of Pentacles is somebody who, you know, he carved his own path to get where he was. He's gone through all of these trials and tribulations to get where he is. And he's just been very consistent as far as moving forward and building things and building abundance. Is very connected to, I feel like this is material, so maybe not, you don't want to be the best Pokemon player, but maybe you want to be the best salesperson in selling whatever that is that you sell. Maybe you want to be the best engineer. Maybe you want to be the best motivational speaker, the best version of you that you can be. And oftentimes we need to find somebody in that field that did what you want to do, and take some advice from them, see how they got there. The other cards, though, talk about kind of like shedding those expectations and those burdens. Ten of Wands is, you know, all of these flowers are piled up on her back, and she's kind of just not moving as quickly or as fast as she could, when these things are holding her back. And a lot of times expectations from other people, whether it's our parents or our friends, like these things are really beautiful and positive because they love you, they want the best for you. But if they don't understand who you are, maybe because you don't understand who you are, you know, they're just giving you things to carry that isn't helpful. And so Ten of Wands is kind of like a recognition of that and letting those things go. An idea that maybe you have these negative thoughts, this programming from society that is just not you. And what I mean by programming from society is, you know, the notion that you need to get good grades in school, and you need to go there every day, and then you need to go to college to be successful. And that might not be your path. There are a lot of people who are successful without going to college, but that's not what society tells us. Society tells us that you know, there's this preconceived path that you have to follow, and that's how you're successful. And what's also interesting is there's a lot of people who follow that path exactly. They do exactly what somebody else tells them to do, and then they don't have the satisfaction at the end of it that they should. So this is really you carving your own path. I think the observance is really important here because it does kind of give you some feedback as to, oh, when my mom told me that I should major in this particular subject. You know, she was doing that with love, but she doesn't understand that even though I'm good at math and I could be an amazing accountant, that's not what I want to do. And when your heart's not into it, when it doesn't align with you and what you want to do, it doesn't matter if you're good at it. Are you really successful? You know, if you go to a job that you hate every day, is that success? And you know, a lot of times that shows up in the energy. You know, you get a job and you go there and you perform it, but you're just going through the emotions. And when you know, you don't get promoted the way other people do who really are there and love it. So 10 of Swords is another one where we're talking about letting go of expectations. These are, you can see there's swords they're needles being poked into her hair. They're usually swords in her back. And these can be cutting words, these can be cutting expectations. These can also be intrusive thoughts a lot of times because you are like following this path that everybody else has put it on you, but you don't feel successful. Like it doesn't feel right to you. And then you're like, well, I'm not, you know, you get these negative thoughts going, but they're not you. So the good thing is that this is in reverse, and we can talk about this ending, these negative thoughts, you letting them go and you being in recovery, because you're going to find out who you are. I love the top hats in both of these. I don't know if that has any significance to you other than to tell me, you know, and this is also like both of them talk about getting like this different, higher perspective. King of Pentacles isn't normally depicted this way, so I love how these two decks are playing together in that way. However, you know, I do think that is an important message for you. Go with the flow. So things shouldn't be difficult. You shouldn't have to fight things. And when you get on your river, like you may not even be on the right river, the right creek, the right path. When you get on your path, of course there's challenges, but it doesn't feel like it's such a fight here. You don't feel like you are carrying these huge burdens. So I love that go with the flow. And then meditation to dig deep. So this is about, you know, maybe you do need to let some things go. I'm also seeing this kind of here in this 10 of Wands, just in this particular card. Maybe you do need to go out and plant something, get your hands dirty, go dig something up, go out there in the dirt. This is for a couple reasons. Maybe this is a comment on what you really should be doing. Maybe you are somebody who would be successful doing a dirty job that other people don't want to do, but it's your bliss. And you know, a lot of societal expectations of those types of jobs is like, oh, well, you can go to college so you don't have to do that. The reality is, though, those people who are telling you that you don't have to do that, they probably make less money than the dirty job they're telling you that you don't have to do. If that is your calling, you should definitely follow that. Also, this meditation to dig deep, sometimes when we're doing something physical like that, it just allows us to clear our mind so that we really do come back to this individuality, so we really can connect with ourselves. It's almost like a reset, almost like a reboot. So I love the water and you know, we've got the water energy coming in this, and then with this go with the flow. I also feel like probably drink more water will be great for your health. Pentacles is also related to your health. So that in the individuality, and then, you know, working outside, walking outside, doing something outside, something that you should be, you know, connect with your health a little bit. Meditate to dig deep. This can also talk about just, connecting with the earth, connecting with the elements, going outside, putting your feet in the grass. It's just a really good feeling, and it helps let go of some anxiety here that you might have with the Ten of Swords and this Ten of Wands burden. But it's interesting that we have the Emperor reversed with the go with the flow, because a lot of times the Emperor, that's the establishment, kind of, and you're going with the flow by going against the establishment. But I feel like that's because of how you are. You as an individual are not a quote unquote normal person. Plot twist here, nobody is normal. So don't let anybody tell you how you're to be normal. When people are telling you that you aren't normal, that you need to do X, Y, and Z to be normal, that's because that's how they define their world. It doesn't mean that has to be how you define your world. So that's what I have for you, group 3. It looks like a really great week. Of course, I always say this, I think, but that's because we work through these challenges to really find, this energy over here with the go with the flow, where she's just relaxing, because she is not carrying this burden at all, and she is not concerned with what other people think about her. She's not allowing these intrusive thoughts. She's just going with the flow, and that's the advice. So I hope you have a fantastic week, group 3, and I will see you in the next reading. Thank you.